We all dream of that perfect escape, don't we? A flawless journey where everything goes right, where the flight is smooth, the sunsets are breathtaking, and the hotel room looks exactly like the pictures online. I thought I had it all planned out. I thought this trip would be the one memory I'd hold on to forever. But life had other intentions. And if you've ever had a trip go sideways, or just want to feel a little better about your own travel woes, then buckle up, because this is the story of my dream vacation gone terribly, terribly wrong. Before we continue, let me know where you're listening from. I love knowing where stories like mine end up being heard. And thank you, truly, for giving me your time. The destination was paradise. At least, that's what the brochures promised. Crystal clear waters, white sand beaches so soft they looked like sugar, lush palm trees swaying under a golden sky. I had been staring at those photos for months, circling dates on my calendar, watching the countdown tick down until the day I could finally say, I'm going. I planned it meticulously. Flights booked months in advance, hand-picked a resort with glowing reviews, checked and double-checked the amenities, infinity pool, spa, restaurants overlooking the ocean. I even splurged on a room with a private balcony, the kind where you could wake up, throw open the curtains, and let the horizon itself be your alarm clock. Packing was almost ceremonial. Sunscreen, sandals, swimsuits, a brand new book I'd been saving just for this trip. For weeks, the thought of this vacation carried me through late nights at work and stressful mornings stuck in traffic. This was supposed to be my reward, my escape. And when the day finally came, I practically floated into the airport. That's where the first crack appeared. The flight was delayed. Not by much, just 45 minutes. Annoying, sure, but nothing unusual. I shrugged it off, grabbed a coffee, and reminded myself, patience. Paradise is worth waiting for. When we finally boarded, the turbulence was worse than expected. People clutched their armrests, drinks spilled, a baby screamed for nearly an hour straight. Again, I told myself, it's fine. The island is waiting. This is just part of the journey. But in hindsight, those were the first warning signs, little ripples on the surface of what was about to become a storm. When I arrived, the heat wrapped around me like a heavy blanket. I was sweaty, exhausted, but thrilled. The drive to the resort showed me glimpses of what I came for: turquoise water flashing between rows of palms, locals smiling as they walked barefoot along dusty roads. My heart swelled with relief. But then, another crack. At check-in, the receptionist looked confused when I gave my name. She clicked around her computer, frowned, then disappeared into a back office. 10 long minutes later, she returned with a strained smile. "There's been a mix-up," she said. "Your room isn't available tonight." Apparently, the resort had overbooked. They offered me a temporary room, smaller, without the ocean view, tucked in a corner that smelled faintly of mildew. I wanted to argue, but the exhaustion in my bones won out. "It's fine," I muttered. "Tomorrow, I'll get the room I paid for." Tomorrow, the vacation would truly begin. But tomorrow didn't go as planned. The next morning, I woke up itching. Red welts dotted my arms and legs. Bed bugs. I stormed down to the lobby, furious. They apologized profusely, upgraded me to my proper room, and sent housekeeping with fumigation equipment. But the damage was done. My skin burned, my mood soured. Still, I forced myself to smile. "You're here to relax," I whispered. "Don't let this ruin it." For a moment, it worked. That evening, I stood on my balcony, watching the sun melt into the sea, painting the sky with colors no artist could ever truly capture. And for a while, I believed things would turn around. But the nightmare hadn't even started yet. It began with the theft. On the third day, I decided to explore the local town. I stuffed my camera, some cash, and my passport into my bag, slung it over my shoulder, and wandered through winding streets filled with music and laughter. I bought souvenirs, tasted street food, snapped photos of children playing soccer barefoot. It was perfect. Until I reached into my bag and felt nothing. My wallet, my passport, my camera, gone. My stomach dropped into my shoes. Panic surged through me as I retraced my steps, asked strangers in broken phrases, pleaded with shopkeepers. Nothing. Everything I needed, gone in a heartbeat. At the police station, the officers shrugged. "Happens all the time," one of them said. "Not much we can do." That night, back in my hotel room, I sat in the dark, trembling. My dream vacation had just collapsed. No passport meant trouble returning home. No wallet meant scrambling for money. And worse, the photos I'd taken, memories I thought I'd cherish, were gone. I felt stupid, helpless, alone. The days that followed were chaos. Hours on the phone with the embassy, waiting in endless lines, filling out forms. My relaxing vacation turned into a bureaucratic nightmare. Instead of sipping cocktails by the pool, I was begging for temporary travel documents. Instead of exploring, I was stuck in sterile offices, drowning in paperwork. And the expenses piled up. Replacement fees, emergency funds wired from home, canceled excursions I couldn't get refunded. My carefully budgeted trip spiraled into a bankruptcy black hole. Everywhere I looked, the cracks widened. Rainstorms washed out the beaches. Power outages shut down the resort. My stomach rebelled against unfamiliar food. At one point, I was so sick I spent a whole day curled up on the bathroom floor. The vacation I had dreamed of, the perfect escape I had built up in my mind, was gone, replaced by exhaustion, fear, and regret. But here's the strange part. In the middle of all that chaos, something unexpected happened. One evening, while waiting in line at the embassy, I met another traveler, a woman who had lost her passport too. She laughed when I told her my story, not cruelly, but knowingly. "Same here," she said. "I thought this trip would fix everything in my life. Turns out, life followed me here." We ended up sharing a meal later, two strangers bonded by misfortune. She told me about her job, her struggles, her dreams, and for the first time all week, I felt lighter, seen, less alone. It wasn't paradise, but it was real. By the time I finally boarded the plane home, temporary passport in hand, I was drained. My skin still bore the marks of bites, my bank account was lighter, my suitcase felt heavier with dirty clothes and dashed expectations. But as the plane lifted off, I realized something. The trip hadn't been perfect, but it had been unforgettable. I learned that no matter how much you plan, life will find ways to test you. That beauty and disaster often live side by side. That sometimes the memories that stick with us aren't the postcard moments, but the struggles we survived. And maybe, just maybe, the real value of travel isn't about escaping life. It's about learning how to face it wherever you are. So, when my dream vacation turned into a nightmare, I thought I'd regret it forever. But now I see it differently. It gave me a story. It gave me perspective. It reminded me that even in the worst of times, there are silver linings, resilience, kindness from strangers, and the reminder that we're all just trying to make it through. If you've ever had your own dream fall apart, whether it was a trip, a relationship, or a plan, you know what I mean. And maybe that's the point. Life isn't predictable. It isn't always perfect. But sometimes, even the nightmares have lessons worth remembering. Thank you for taking the time to hear my story. And if you've ever had a vacation go wrong or a plan unravel before your eyes, I'd love to hear it. Because in the end, the only thing worse than a nightmare trip is thinking you're the only one who's ever had one.